I grew up in Los Angeles and went to college to study business. I had never been in a school show or done anything else. Tom Selleck got married in 1987 using a fake name. He was unknown to the minister. They forgot to bring the marriage license, so they rushed to get it before dinner. But the wedding wasn't the only thing that happened. A story about stealing water, a death on the set by Chopper, and a son who became addicted. Tom said on live TV that he might lose everything by 2025. This is the story of a man who had everything and then saw it all fall apart. His birthday is January 29, 1945, and he was born in Detroit. His mother, Martha, took care of the family while she worked, and his father, Robert, bought and sold homes. After that, Robert joined the Army and worked on B-29 bombers during World War II. Tom was the second kid. Bob, his older brother, had come a year earlier, in 1944. Later, Martha and Daniel, his other two siblings, joined him. Back then, they lived in Detroit, which was a noisy, industrial city. But Tom's early life would soon change in a big way. Tom was only 3 years old when his father made a big choice in 1948. He packed up his family and moved them to California after leaving Detroit. He got a job with Coldwell Banker in Los Angeles that paid only cash. That meant no salary, no sure thing of getting paid. It was very dangerous. They chose to live in Sherman Oaks, which at the time was mostly farms. Robert thought that California had more chances for him, and that bet paid off in the end. He was making $70,000 a year in fees by 1960. That was pretty close to how much the president made. But it wasn't easy for Tom to grow up in California. His height began to rise above everyone else's. Eventually, he reached 6 feet 4 inches. Even as a kid, he stood out in every classroom. He felt awkward and different, and it made school tough at times. But slowly, he began turning that height into something good. He joined the basketball team at Grant High School and became a standout player. He also played baseball. His body, his coordination, and his focus helped him rise. But that didn't mean life was simple. When Tom was 17, something happened that could have ended everything. He was riding in a car with two friends, traveling down the dangerous curves of Mulholland Drive. The car lost control, went airborne, and crashed. It was his mother's red Chevy Corvair. The accident was so bad, it became the opening story in his 2024 memoir, You Never Know. They survived, but it changed Tom forever. It made him more careful, more thoughtful. He never forgot how close he came to dying. Even though Robert eventually became successful, the early years in California were hard. The family struggled with money, so Tom worked. During high school, he got a part-time job at a clothing store. He kept working there even after he started acting classes. He also chose Valley Junior College because it let him live at home and save money. Even after he joined 20th Century Fox's acting program and then lost that opportunity, he went right back to the store. Work was never beneath him. He did what he had to do. He had always dreamed of attending USC, but they didn't give him a scholarship at first. He turned down a full basketball ride to Montana State just because he wanted USC so badly. So he worked, saved, and attended Valley College first. In 1965, he finally made it into USC. He played for the basketball team, but only scored 4 points in 7 games. The next season, he scored 0 in 3 games. The team said he was quick, but needed better defense. His sports dreams faded fast. While majoring in business, he found side jobs. He worked for United Airlines as a campus rep. His Sigma Chi fraternity buddies pushed him into going on the dating game in 1965 and again in 1967. He lost both times. It was humiliating, but that embarrassment somehow opened a door. A casting agent saw him and gave him a chance to audition for a Pepsi commercial. He got the part. All he had to do was dunk a basketball on camera. He drank so much Pepsi during the shoot, he got sick. But the $1,000 from that ad led directly to his offer from 20th Century Fox. Then, the Vietnam War changed everything. In 1967, Tom got his draft notice. Instead of going to war, he joined the California National Guard's 160th Infantry. He served for 6 years, from 1967 to 1973. He rose to sergeant and later became a second lieutenant after training at the California Military Academy. At one point, he even responded to the Watts riots in Los Angeles, but the cost was steep. While he served, Fox dropped him. He kept his uniform in the trunk of his car, ready for deployment anytime, even during auditions. When he returned to acting, he trained at the Beverly Hills Playhouse under Milton Katselos. It was intense. Katselos was a rough teacher. Some said it felt more like a cult than a classroom. The students had to stand and clap whenever he walked in. He shouted. He pressured. He told actors to pull their own hair out to feel rage. Some called him abusive. Others called him brilliant. But Tom stuck with it. He endured everything. Even though he never joined Scientology, many said Katselos was using the class to recruit. To make money during college, Tom modeled for Salem cigarettes. His tall build and clean looks were perfect for ads. Those cigarette commercials paid more than his United Airlines gig. But later, when he became famous with Magnum PI, those old ads came back to haunt him. Reporters asked him why he had promoted smoking. He hated those questions. He didn't want to be remembered as a guy who sold cigarettes to teens. He quietly tried to distance himself from it. Between 1965 and 1967, the dating game haunted him. Losing twice on national TV made him question everything. He told AARP it was the most embarrassing thing he'd ever done. His looks didn't help him. His charm didn't work. He started feeling like he didn't belong on screen. The second loss hurt more than the first. That memory stayed with him for years. In 1969, he got a role in Judd for the Defense. It was a big break. Then something ridiculous happened. He was fired from another show just because he was too tall. At 6 feet 4 inches, he made the other actors look tiny. The people in charge didn't know how to work with him on set. One agency told him that his height was a problem. Think about being fired because you are tall. It was terrible. He had to take on small roles for years just to stay in the game. He was in 6 episodes of The Rockford Files from 1974 to 1979. Lance White was a detective that he played. It would have been good for his job. But behind the scenes, he had a fight with James Garner, the star. Tom wanted the person he wrote to seem real. In Garner's mind, Lance should be silly and funny. They had a fight over words, tone, and direction. It was clear there was stress. On set, some scenes were changed. The team could feel the gap. The fights made the work seem hard. He had a part in the cheap horror movie Daughters of Satan in 1972. The movie was shot in the Philippines. The set wasn't safe. It was hard to see the fire scene because of bad special effects. There were real fires nearby. Tom got some small burns. His hair was burned. The team couldn't even talk to each other properly. They couldn't talk to each other, but they had to finish the movie. People didn't talk about what really took place. It was hidden by the studio. Tom was scared, but he had to do it. But to keep going. The TV show Charlie's Angels gave him a short try in 1976. He was the boyfriend in the play. But he was fired after only one show. He told Tom that the Angels looked too small because he was so tall. They said there was no spark. It turned out to be a hit. Tom, on the other hand, went back to making ads. He only had one suit because he was poor. And went to all of her auditions in it. Robert Saline, who directed a soap opera, said that Tom wore the same suit on and off. Tom Selleck almost quit the part that made him famous. It made him hate Magnum PI when he first read the story for it. It wasn't the smart and funny person we know now. Magnum looked a lot like James Bond in the first draft. He lived on hills by the sea, had a mean dog, and even had a hang glider with machine guns on it. I don't want to play what I look like, Selleck told the directors. It was the sixth failed flight he had done before. He knew this was his last chance and wasn't going to fake it. He told Donald Bellisario, "I want a character who is funny as well as action-packed." Bellisario paid attention. He changed everything after shooting had already begun. Making the change slowed down filming and worried CBS, but it saved the show and Selleck's career. Thomas Ray met a woman in 1984 who changed his life. At the time, he was still married to Jacqueline Ray. Gilly Mack was her name, and she was a British dancer in Cats on the West End. Tom couldn't get enough of the show. He kept coming back over and over. Jane Seymour, who worked with him, thought it was odd. She said, "He liked Cats, but I didn't understand why he went back 12 times. Tabloids went crazy at the time. There were rumors of an affair. People tried to show something by following him and her. Gilly had no idea who Tom was. 3 months ago, someone stole her TV. The TV show Magnum, PI, was new to her. But they'd have quiet dinners after the shows. They got a divorce in 1982, but people always wondered if Gilly had anything to do with it. They saw that shadow for years. It was really close for Tom to play Indiana Jones back in 1980, right before Magnum really took off. He was picked out by Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. They really liked how he and Sean Young got along in the interview, but there was a catch. Tom had already agreed to work for CBS. It was true what he told Spielberg. CBS did not want him to leave. It was firm from Bob Daly at CBS. Not a show. Then the irony set in. Magnum filming had to stop for 6 months in 1980 because of a strike by the Screen Actors Guild. He could have shot Raiders of the Lost Ark right then, but Tom waited in Hawaii instead. At the same time, Harrison Ford played the part and became a worldwide star. Afterward, Tom said, "I didn't see myself as a victim, but I wasn't happy about it either." He might have lost more than $100 million because of that one choice. In the same year, something terrible happened on set. Rob Van Der Kar, 33, died when his helicopter crashed while they were shooting. He was taking pictures. Robert Sanders, the pilot, lived, but he was badly hurt. A normal water scene was being filmed off the coast of Oahu. Sanders jumped over and over to try to save Van Der Kar when the helicopter went down. He never got out. Tom was hurt. He asked for change. He got into a fight with Universal Studios over safety. He asked for more managers, backup helicopters, and right information. They said it cost too much. Tom said, "We're talking about lives." Because of his stance, the industry had to change in the end. Over 50 million people watched the last episode of the show on May 1, 1988, when it finished. But there was a war going on behind the scenes. CBS wanted to get rid of it early. In season 7, they tried to kill Magnum. He was shot and fell into a sleep. In the last shot, he was seen walking toward the light. But fans were very angry. He had to come back for season 8 on CBS. It cost them a lot of money. The cost of making each show had gone up to $1.2 million. Tom was told to cut down on location shoots, get rid of the helicopters, and hire less expensive players. He said no. He said it would make the show bad. They fought all the time. Tom did more than act in Magnum, he also looked out for it. Tom played the lead role in 3 Men and a Baby in 1987. There was a strange event after it made $167 million. One scene had a boy standing still behind the curtains that people saw. There were rumors that the apartment was cursed. Some said that a boy had died there. The story got bigger. Tom talked about it on The Tonight Show many years later. It was a Ted Danson cardboard cutout that was left over from a scene that wasn't shown. There was a set in Toronto where the movie was shot. Not in a real apartment. People loved the ghost story anyway. Disney never put an end to the myth. Some said it made VHS tapes sell better. It was very rough in Australia in 1990 when Tom shot Quigley Down Under. It was hard. During tough times, he rode horses, did tricks, and dealt with bad weather. He didn't like the heat, the terrain, or the way the Australian workers worked. Roger Ebert thought he did a good job, but the movie didn't do well. It was hard for it to get its money back. But Tom said it was one of the most proud things he had ever done. Tom was back on the list when Batman came out in 1989. Charles Sheen, Kevin Costner, and Mel Gibson were also there. Michael Keaton got it. At first, fans didn't like that idea. Warner Brothers got 50,000 letters of complaints, but the movie made $411 million. Changed superhero movies for good. It wasn't a big deal back then, so Tom turned it down. He was still connected to Magnum. He later said he felt bad about what he did. Mr. Baseball came out in 1992. Tom played an old Yankees star who was sent to Japan. It was funny and weird at the same time. People from different cultures had problems with each other in the movie. Tom worked out hard. And real players who were going to Japan used the movie to learn how to play. But it didn't do well at the box office. Some said it looked and felt messy. After years of hits, it was his first big miss. Then, in 1997, In and Out opened. For 12 seconds, Tom kissed Kevin Kline on TV. His friends were shocked by that one moment. He had given money to conservative candidates and been on the board of the NRA. People asked him if the job went against what he believed in. That's what he said, "I make faces for you. I'm not Solomon because of that." His job was to act, and he did it. The kiss made news, but it also made it possible for more LGBTQ+ characters to play parts in popular movies. Tom played Monica's older boyfriend in 10 episodes of Friends from 1995 to 2000. There. The sarcastic tone of Chandler was hard for him to take. He asked Matthew Perry for help over and over. People lost it when Perry tried to copy Tom's beard. After that, when Tom's character made fun of it, "Nice beard. It will start when youth comes around." The group laughed out loud. When Tom tried to get back on TV in 1998, he did The Closer. It didn't work. There were only 10 shows. The scores were not good. Some people didn't like it. Tom was hurt. He went to his 63-acre ranch and took a year off. He said it taught him how to fail and get back up again. Then Jesse Stone showed up. He was in 9 TV movies based on Robert B. Parker's books from 2005 to 2015. He even began writing with others on the later ones. They did better in the polls than network shows and were popular with older people. But a charge of plagiarism hurt a lot. Someone else wrote that Tom stole his ideas. A deal was made in secret. It wasn't talked about in public. The movies kept going until 2015. Tom was on the TV show Boston Legal in 2006. It should have been easy, but his real-life job with the NRA didn't go well with the show's more liberal group. Gun control was touched on in the scripts. Things got worse. People in the cast questioned his ideas during table reads. After the fact, Tom said that it was one reason he quit the NRA board in 2018. People liked his part in Night Countdown to D-Day, 2004. NZ is where he shot it. Each day was 18 hours long. There was a lot of stress, and it almost ended his marriage to Gilly Mack. He said that making the movie drained him physically and mentally. He drew Eisenhower in his real life as well as in his movies. That role was played by Tom from 2010 to 2024 on Blue Bloods. He made $200,000 per show, making him the highest paid actor. But in 2023, CBS asked the group to give up 25% of their pay so the show could stay on the air. Tom agreed. He dropped $1.2 million. Still, the show was called off. He told them he was angry. He asked CBS to think again. The last episode aired on December 13, 2024. He spoke a song. The cast and crew cried, but CBS wouldn't change their minds. Tom hurt his knee during a prank in 2015. It caused pain for years. By 2025, he had both knees replaced. Long marks were seen in pictures. He had trouble walking and needed a truck to help him. He kept going even though he needed help with easy scenes. He came up with the idea for the Blue Bloods family dinner scenes. They had to seem real, like his own family. But he fought with writers behind the scenes. Some stories, he said, were too preachy. The actors had ways to stay away from food. Vanessa Ray ate 17 rolls before she learned. Tom just put butter on his. No more movies were made after COVID hit in 2020. Tom didn't leave his land. 75. Pain, getting old, and fear all started to weigh on him. He wrote in his 2024 autobiography, "You Never Know," that he was unhappy. The joint pain was getting worse. He needed help getting around. It got hard at each shoot, but he showed up. He married model Jacqueline Ray in 1971. She was there for him when no one knew his name. During his hardest years, when acting jobs were hard to come by and money was tight, she was there for him. She had faith in him for over 10 years. But things changed when Magnum PI made him popular in the early 1980s. Fame and temptations came quickly. While he was shooting in Hawaii, Jacqueline started to see him on TV with women from Hawaii. That's when it hit her. She was losing the man she loved and had been there for her through everything. His friends said he fell in love with the island life and all the attention. She felt lied to. Even though she gave up a lot, their split in 1982 only gave her 3 years of support. The house and the car. That was it. In 1987, only 5 years after that, Tom got married again. This time, behind closed doors. Gilly Mack, a British dancer who was 25 years old, had been his obsession since 1983. He watched her in Cats over and over again. They lied about their names when they finally got married at Lake Tahoe on August 7, 1987. Tom changed his name to Tom Jenkins, and Gilly used the name Susie Mark. Up until the very end, even the minister was fooled. Someone had to run to Reno to get the marriage license before dinner because they forgot it. There was only family there. No news. To keep things quiet, there were only Polaroid cameras. But the marriage had problems even though they kept it a secret. At first, Tom's need to work all the time almost ruined it. They even needed to talk to someone. Hannah was their baby. She was born in 1988. Tom's 63-acre avocado ranch in Ventura County is where she was born. It looked like a dream life at first. But Tom afterwards said that being alone on the ranch made things harder. He wasn't working on Magnum PI anymore. Because his house made him feel like a ghost. He told them he wanted more than just a job. For now, though, shooting kept him away. And Hannah spent a lot of her childhood by herself, with animals instead of friends. Horses, dogs, sheep, rabbits, and goats number 13. The life was quiet and sometimes lonely. She used horses as a way to escape, and she said that life on the ranch could have killed her without her parents' help. Tom also took in Kevin, Jacqueline's son, when he was 21 years old, in 1987. Kevin's life wasn't easy either. His mother thought about sending him to private school when he was only 15. In his 20s, he started drinking a lot. Tom had to take him to the Betty Ford Center for treatment. Kevin still had trouble after that. He was sued in 2011 for $6,000 in credit card debt. With all of Tom's fame and money, Kevin just couldn't find his way. What did Tom try? His friends said he tried money, wisdom, and freedom, but nothing worked. Everyone in the family felt stressed. Kevin got married, had 6 kids, and is said to have healed. But the pain didn't go away. In 1988, Tom paid $5 million to buy the same 63-acre ranch from Dean Martin. But the peace didn't last. The water department sued him in 2015, saying he stole 1.4 million gallons of water. California was going through one of the worst droughts in its history, and in his area, crops had to be cut back by 36%. Police say Tom sent a tanker truck 12 times to get water from a public fountain 8 miles away. The district had to pay $21,685.55 just to show it. Tom finally paid that much to settle the case and stop drinking water. That wasn't the ranch's only problem, though. By 2023, harsh rains had killed almost all of his 1,500 avocado trees. There were 25 oak trees that had been there for more than 100 years that died. Tom, who is 79 years old now, said it hurt his heart. In 2012, he said it had always been hard for him to make money from avocados. He laughed and said, "I don't even like them. I could sell them instead of eating them." However, the company had shut down completely by 2023. Then 2024 came along. Blue Bloods, the show he had been on the longest, was cancelled. Tom was making about $4.8 million a season, or $200,000 a show. Still, he told CBS that he wasn't sure if he could pay for the ranch without working. He asked, "Am I set for life?" Yes, but maybe not on a 63-acre ranch. The land was worth $12 million now, but he had borrowed $15 to $16 million for it in the 2000s. There was still a lot of money to pay. Tom even told CBS that they could cut pay by 25% to keep the show going. He said that our show has the third most scripts. We're on top of the night, but it didn't work out. Tom's health began to get worse in 2025. He looked so different at 80 years old. He looked smashed and messy, and his friends said he had a gut that hung over. He had once flown across his land on an ATV to check on blooms and do work by hand. He could hardly move now, though. His joints hurt. He had surgery on both knees in 2024, and there were scars on both legs. He was always hungry because of the medicines he was taking, especially prednisone, and his sadness made it worse. He had bags of chips and burgers and started eating fast food in secret. His friends thought he was going to die from eating too much. At 6 feet 4 inches, he was now close to 350 pounds. Doctors warned he might already be insulin resistant. With his age, obesity, and medications, he was at high risk of heart attack, stroke, or worse. His wife, Jilly, stayed by him, but even she was worn down. He didn't want to quit. He said retirement scared him, but experts said he might not have a choice. His body couldn't handle acting anymore. Still, he kept holding on. In May 2024, he released his memoir, You Never Know, co-written with Ellis Hennigan. It became a bestseller overnight. For 320 pages, he told everything. Childhood stories, Mae West parties, roles he turned down, how fame changed him, what he regretted, what he didn't. It was his most open moment. CBS tried to carry the legacy forward with a Blue Bloods spin-off in 2025 called Boston Blue, focused on Donnie Wahlberg. Tom wanted to be part of it. He begged, he pushed, but insiders said his health might stop him. He needed help just to walk. His team said nothing. Wahlberg said maybe there'd be cameos since New York and Boston were close, but everyone knew it would be hard. By 2026, people around Tom believed he might finally step away. He didn't want to, but his body was shutting down. His mind needed work. His soul needed purpose. But his knees, his heart, his weight, they were all screaming for rest. That ranch, which once gave him peace, now felt like a burden. He feared losing it. He said, "I need to keep working enough to hold on to the place." But time was moving fast. Friends said he might soon disappear into that ranch, far from Hollywood, far from cameras. Just Tom, his wife, and memories stretching across 63 acres of silence.